Hey friends, welcome back to KaityDraws. If you're new to my channel, hello and welcome. And if you like what you see, please don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell so that you can get notified every time I release a new video. Right now I'm releasing one sometime between Thursday and Sunday every week, but I'm still trying to figure out a nice schedule for that so that it can become more regular. But anyway, let's talk about what I'm drawing today. Okay, you can see up in the corner I have that little sketch that I'm working from, and I drew that a long time ago. I want to say something like 3 months ago now I drew that. But I was going through my old sketchbooks and I saw it and I was like, I want to make that a finished piece. So I'm going in on my nice Canson Multimedia paper, and I drew it in first in my Prismacolor non-photo blue drawing pencil, and now I'm going back over it with just a red Prismacolor colored pencil. I like to use both. I know a lot of people like to use either blue or red to do their sketching. I like both because I feel like if I make a mistake in one, I can fix it with the other before I go in to work on the piece itself. And so that's sort of what I did, and now I'm going in with my Copic markers in my flesh tones. Now, I made the same mistake in this one that I made in the last one. I'm not using paper that you should use Copic markers on. This is very technically watercolor paper, so it is just soaking up all of the ink I'm putting down, and it was really hard on my markers. But I made it work. And hopefully I will be getting better paper soon so that this just stops being an issue. But I really, really like using my Copic markers to do the skin tones just because it is such a nice, soft gradient and there's so many different colors you can use. And I feel like when I'm doing skin on watercolor, I sometimes end up with like water textures in places where I don't necessarily want them. And so it's easier to control the Copic markers. So despite my better judgment, I went ahead and did it. Now I am going in with a really cool tool that I actually got for Christmas this year from my grandma. These are my Akashiya watercolor brush pens. They are really, really fun because they're brush pens, but they're not an ink inside of them. They're actually watercolor. And so they go down just like, you know, a watercolor would with a nice fine brush. But instead of having to wait like 20 or 30 minutes for them to dry completely, they dry in like almost instantly. Like, okay, I'm not going to say instantly because there's just enough time that I can blend them still. But in a matter of like minutes, they're fully dry. And you can see I'm going in a little early with my my outlining, just because I knew I was done with the skin, but I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with everything else, and I wanted to see how it was going to react with my watercolor brush pens, because with normal watercolor, sometimes it'll bleed, sometimes it'll be a really soft line instead of a nice hard one. It turned out well, and so I was like, well, I'll just go ahead and outline the face too. Here I am drawing in some more of the roses, and you'll notice that I went with a lot fewer roses in the final piece than I did in the sketch. But I think it made a better composition in the long run, so I'm okay with it. So I did the roses by going in with sort of a medium red and then going over that medium red with a light pink and then going over the light pink with a red, and I feel like that really got me like a natural looking depth that I wouldn't have gotten if I had just gone in with a red marker. Now I am working on sort of the background outside part. And you can see in the little sketch, I sort of have just a flat color. And I wasn't really happy with that going into this piece. So I wanted to try and do a gradient, but I didn't color swatch first, which is a huge mistake. So I went in with what is obviously a medium brown. and not a brown. Whew. I went in with a medium blue at the inside, and then a nice deep blue on the outside, and then the color that I picked up to go in the middle was lighter than the first color I put up. And so, take it from me, guys, always swatch your colors before you put it down, because this ended up causing me a lot of problems later on down the road. I ended up going over this background so many times, and it ended up being more of a flat color than a gradient, and it was kind of disappointing, but I'm not angry about it because I still think it looks really nice. Here I am going back in and outlining the roses some more, giving them that depth. I'm really happy with how that turned out. Obviously, you know, they're stylized, so they don't necessarily look like a real rose, but I still think they look pretty nice, and so I'm happy with it. Oh, here I am going back to that background, trying to fix it. Still not really working, you know. I'm giving it my all. I am putting in an effort, but there is just a gap there. Okay, you can see here I've sort of, down in that corner, made it look a little bit more gradiated, but it's more dark blue than light blue for sure. Now I'm just taking one of my Copic markers to go in and darken up the greens that I put in the leaves a little bit. Oh, and here you can see I put a little rag under my hand because despite my best efforts, the reds were not completely dry when I moved my hands over them. So I got a little bit of pink smudging outside of the blue oval. You can't really see it in the video, but it aggravated me at the time. And so I was like, nope, I'm putting a cloth down. Now I'm working on the hair. I wanted this to be sort of like a cool, edgier hair color because I went with a really simple, anyone could have it hairstyle. And so I decided to do a gray to turquoise ombre type thing. And I was hoping it would be like a really nice, like gradiated thing. But when I started coloring it in, it wasn't really doing an ombre as such, but I ended up really liking the way it was just sort of staccato and choppy. Like, it gave it a really graphic feel, and I was very happy with it despite it not being what I was going for. Despite having a sketch and all of that, I didn't do near as much planning going into this piece as I probably should have. And I can think of several things that if I would have done it, this piece might look better. But overall, I'm not upset about any of it. I think it turned out very nice. And in the immortal words of Bob Ross, we don't make mistakes here, we just make happy accidents. So here I am again on the other side of the background, going in, trying to save it. It's working to an extent. It still looks pretty okay. Sort of darkening up that inner blue so that it's kind of all one color. But I still like it. I still don't think it's bad. Now I'm just doing some light outlining. I didn't go in and detail with my outlining near as much as normal because I felt like it had a really nice graphic quality to it, and if I went in with too many harsh lines, it might take away from that. And so I tried to keep my outlining to a minimal. Oh golly, and here we are again with the lips. I could not decide what color her lips should be. And so I ended up going with basically a darker brown lipstick kind of feel. But then it was really dark, and so I had to go back up into the eyes and try and add some contrast up there, really make it look like she was wearing makeup, you know? Soft makeup, but makeup nonetheless. Finishing some outlining on her face, and doing some detailing in my white pen, which you'll see here. Alright, I'm just about done, so thank you all so much for watching. This piece is going to be available on my Redbubble as of tonight, And if you're interested in seeing more stuff from me, you might consider checking out my Patreon page where you can support me and help pay for the cost of being a working artist. I hope you have all had a great time, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye, everybody.